no gaga dị ndụ hụkwa Biafra iligerishi ya o anyị bụ ụmụ Chukwu okike abịa ma ihe anyị chọrọ bụ nwere onwe anyị ejeghị mmadụ ọbụla ụgwọ onye biri ka ibe ya biri maka ebe bere ugo bere n'o ọ bụkwa ọfọ n'ogu ka anyị ji aga ka anyị gbawa mbọ anya dara mba anyị jisike anyị nwe mmeri I were off for you. I got to define a true. Chukwu okike kere eluigwe n'ụwa nnabịa n'ụlọ olumo anyị enweghị Chukwu ọzọ ewezuga gị chịka ụzụ ndị agha anyị ebughị anya kọtọ gị ihe anyị chọrọ bụ nwere onwe anyị n'aka ndị nwere obi ọjọọ n'aka ndị ama n'oke ọchịchọ ọsọkwa aka egburu egbe na mma onweghị ya ga-emume Chukwu ọ bụzi mmadụ ole kunu ga-egbunu ihe anyị ma bụ oji ọfọ gara onye si n'ọgaga dị ndụ hụkwa ndị Igbo aliligerishi ya o onye si n'ọgaga dị ndụ hụkwa Biafra iligerishi ya o anyị bụ ụmụ Chukwu okike abịa ma ihe anyị chọrọ bụ nwere onwe anyị ejeghị mmadụ ọbụla ụgwọ onye biri ka ibe ya biri maka ebe bere ugo bere n'o ọ bụkwa ọfọ n'ogu ka anyị ji aga ka anyị gbawa mbọ anya dara mba anyị jisike anyị nwe mmeri I got to define a true.
Anyị na-efe gwe na-akọzi aha nsọ ya mgbe niile Chineke nna nke ndị gboo onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ mmalite n'ụsọtụ onye anyị ji eme ọnụ onye anyị ji anya isi anyị enweghị ikike ọ bụla eze ebube ọ bụ naanị gị ka anyị ji eme ọnụ n'ihi na ewezuga gị ama ndị na-achịwa anyị ọchị mana ọ bụ site n'ebere gị na amara gị ịhụnanya gị mmeso ọma gị mere ji wee nọdụ were n'ụbọchị nketa ma wee na-arịọ gị ndezi ebere ngọzi ka ị wee mee ngwa ngwa ka ị bịa zọpụta ndị gị ka ị bịa napụta ụmụ gị bụ ndị Biafra n'aka ndị iro ka ijikwa otu aka eze ebube dị ngọzi wee zọpụta ndị Yoruba Oduduwa bịakwa ka ị wee zọpụta ndị Middle Belt onye nwe m nke kachasị nke biko nye anyị amamihe na ezi echiche nye anyị ezi nghọta nye anyị ezi ịhụnanya mmekọta nwanne na nwanne ozi nna dị ngọzi bịakwa eze ebube onye ebere ka isi wee tinye ihere n'etiti ndị iro anyị n'ụbọchị nke taa ha wee na-eri anụ onwe ha aka ntị ha wee baa ha ọnụ bịakwa ka iwee si etu eze ebube dị ngọzi bịa ka iwee tisasịa ọlụ aka ha niile bụ nke ha ụmụ ha kwadoro iji wee megide ụmụ gị bụ ndị Biafra bịakwa ka iwee chụghachi ndị dị etu azụ ma tinye ọgba aghara n'etiti ha bụ ndị na-akpagharị wee na-akpagbu ụmụ gị bịakwa ezi ebube dị ngọzi ka iwe chụghachi ha azụ n'ụzọ ọjọọ nke ha na-aga ka ụgwọ ọrụ ndị dị etu a ma hope ụzọ dị mma ma ndị janjaweed niile ma ndị kalifet bụ na-achị obodo kwe nzuzu ka ihere ha wepụta ihe ma lekwa anya onwe anyị bụ ndị na-achị iru gị bụ ụmụ gị bụ ndị Biafra ụmụ IPOB n'ụwa niile anya onwe anyị bụ ndị nwe ezi ịhụnanya na ezi mmasị ebe ntụziaka iwu gị nọ anya onwe anyị bụ ndị mgbe niile na-aja aha nsọ gị mma na-asị ka anyị bulie gị elu Chineke nna ka anyị bulie gị elu ọkaka ka anyị bulie gị elu onye ọbụla ya na-achị ma leenụ na anyị bụ ụmụ ogbenye anyị enweghị ego ka obodo ekwensu bụ zoo si nwee anyị enweghị ego ka Britain si nwee bụ ndị na-ehi ha aja n'ukwu anyị enweghị ego ka ndị iro anyị mana ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye na-edu anyị ezi nna dị ebere marụ mgbe ebighị ebi n'ihi na ọ bụ n'ime gị ka anyị gbabaworo nna nke igwe wee na-arịọ nchekwa gị n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye enyemaka ụmụ Biafra ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye nzọpụta ọ bụ naanị gị ka a na-etu Elohim Adonai El Shaddai Chukwu okike abịa mapụrụ m ihe niile biko nụ bịa ka ime ọsọ ọsọ wee napụta ụmụ gị na abụ ọjọọ nke Britain kebara ha n'ime ya ka ọ ga-abụ n'ikpete mazụ na Biafra ga-abịa eluigwe n'ụwa ga-agba akaebe ịhụnanya gị n'ime ndụ ụmụ gị anyị ga-asị na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ Chineke nna bụ na kwesịrị ntụkwasị obi kwere n'ihi Biafra ụwa niile ga-etigheta azụ wee maa na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye na-eme amara. Otuto na nsọpụrụ na ịja mmadụ sọsọ aha nsọ gị, onye kere ihe niile kere eke mana onye kere ya, ugbu a ma ruo mgbe niile ebighị ebi ka anyị na-arịọ gị. Ise ise.
Another Savior. Holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior. Another Savior. Holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior.
Well, this is Mobien. This is dedicated to the gallant heroes of the Nigerian Biafra War and IPOB families all over the world. I remember the Nigerian Biafran War, in the thickness of the Biafra genocide. Hey, one man revived the vanishing hope to life. Let the great Biafran army to fight, and they were singing out, Holy, 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 Olumewojuku is another Savior. They were singing out, Holy, 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 Olumewojuku is another Savior. Holy, 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 Olumewojuku is another Savior. Many years after the genocide, whoa, yet another great leader has risen up now. Oh, and he's leading the Biafrans to victory. Inyomadika yabika kokwa namno wow. Hey, anamekele mazuche mefo. Mwanemo, it's an honor having you on board. When I'm singing along, holy, 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 Nnamdi Kanu is another Savior. Sing along, holy, 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 Nnamdi Kanu is another Savior. When I sing along, holy, 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 is another Savior. Getting it right and getting it faster now. Holy, 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 is another Savior. Holy, holy, getting it right, holy, is another Savior. Yeah, for freedom. Holy, 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 Nnamdi Kanu is another Savior.
Biafra, the land of the rising suns. Onye si n'ọgaga dị ndụ hụkwa ndị Igbo, alili gerishi ya o. Onye si n'ọgaga dị ndụ hụkwa Biafra, ili gerishi ya o. Anyị bụ ụmụ Chukwu okike abịa ma ihe anyị chọrọ bụ nwere onwe anyị. Anyị ejeghị mmadụ ọbụla ụgwọ, onye biri ka ibe ya biri. Maka egbe bere ugo bere n'o, ọ bụkwa ọfọ n'ogu ka anyị ji aga. Ka anyị gbawa mbọ anya dara mba, anyị jisike anyị nwe mmeri. Enye Igobike, enye Igobike. Anyị were ofe obi Igobike, anyị ga-achụti financial Igobike. Chukwu okike kere eluigwe n'ụwa, nna bịa n'ụlọ olu m. Anyị enweghị Chukwu ọzọ ewezuga gị chịkụ ụzụ ndị agha. Anyị ebughị ihe anya kọtọ gị, ihe anyị chọrọ bụ nwere onwe anyị. N'aka ndị nwere obi ọjọọ, n'aka ndị ama n'oke ọchịchọ. Ọsọkwa aka egburu egbe na mma, o nweghị ya ga-emume Chukwu. Ọ bụzi mmadụ ole kunu ga-egbunu, ihe anyị ma bụ oji ọfọ gala. Onye si n'ọgaga dị ndụ hụkwa ndị Igbo, alili gerishi ya o. Onye si n'ọgaga dị ndụ hụkwa Biafra, ili gerishi ya o. Anyị bụ ụmụ Chukwu okike abịa ma ihe anyị chọrọ bụ nwere onwe anyị. Anyị ejeghị mmadụ ọbụla ụgwọ, onye biri ka ibe ya biri. Maka egbe bere ugo bere n'o, ọ bụkwa ọfọ n'ogu ka anyị ji aga. Ka anyị gbawa mbọ anya dara mba, anyị jisike anyị nwe mmeri. Enye Igobike, enye Igobike. Anyị were ofe obi Igobike, anyị ga-achụti financial Igobike.
Biafra bụ anyị ike ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike Biafra bụ anyị ike ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike Biafra bụ anyị ike ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike ma yesuro ijiji ntị ike n'enu nyede sozi ozu ana n'inyi Biafra bụ anyị ike Biafra bụ nke m anyị agwago ndị Naịjirịa ga-eme ya n'udo mana va jụziri ajụ chọrọ ka abụbụ ụbụ mụbọsị anyị ga-abụ ụbụ n'elu ụwa aga m afụ ife fa ga-abụta Chukwu nyeli ndị Israel Kenan land na fa nazili je kwechiri etu a ka o si nye ụmụ Igbo Biafra anyị ga-ana n'ụwa je kwechiri onye eli ndị Yoruba duduwa fa ga-anazi n'ụwa je kwechiri onyeli ndị Awụsa arịwa baga nnazio n'ụwa jekwochiri adọpụ onye Naịjirịa bụ ife na-eme Naịjirịa bụ omume ebe ọ bụ na okwerozi anyị n'ụwa onye ọbụla ga-anabazi nkụ dị na mba n'elu ụwa nne m ya na-eyeli mba nni ife anyị nwere n'elu ụwa nye ka anyị ga-eji wee dị ebube Naịjirịa nọzi n'afụfụ tata maka na ba chọrọ idozi anyị Biafra Naịjirịa nọ n'afụfụ tata maka ba chọrọ ịkwado ụmụ Biafra Arialia na-alụ amụkwụ mana arapụrụ fa wee jebe na China Biafra bụ anyị ike ọ na-awa nkụ gara aga Adaesi Igbo bụ ngọ Achukwu nyere anyị ya n'aka kedu ndị na-esi ngọ Biafra bụ anyị ike
Biafra bụ anyị ike
ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike
ọwago nkụ ndị Naịjirịa
Biafra bụ anyị ike
nwazi anya pịatanụ
ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike
a na-esi Igbo bụ ngọ
Biafra bụ anyị ike
ụmụ Biafra na anyị ga-ana
ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike
obi etikwanụ na-eti
Biafra bụ anyị ike
maka ife enwebe isi enwebe ilo
ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike
mana anyị ga-ana nna
Biafra bụ anyị ike
ike agwụgo ndị Sabo
ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike
ndị Sabo chakwanụ n'ụzọ
Biafra bụ anyị ike
maka Biafra na-abịa
ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike
iluzie na Nsụka na UNN anyị nwere chemistry lab ebe anyị nọrụ ngwa ọgụ anyị ji nụzie ya Naịjirịa lapụrụ ya oleka maka na ọ dị na ndị Biafra tataba na-ejezi China na Amerịka egote ngwa ọgụ kedu ndị na-agbazi lọs Amerịka na China inego ngwa ọgụ fa ụmụ fa nọzi n'ọlụ mana ndị nke yi nọzi nkịtị onye yala ibenye nna chi ya kwuru n'elu ụwa ọ banyezienụ n'afụfụ ife unu ji emife niile a bụ ka ọ yala ịbala ụmụ Biafra ma tata Chukwu agọzigo anyị wee nye enyi onye ndu ụmụ ụzọ ọfụma Mazi Nnamdi Kanu ọhamadike Biafra eze nkotoko nyilu mkpuchi
enye dizi anyị ike Biafra wee bịa wee wazie nkụ ndị Naijiria pịata oke n'ọsọ ngwere n'ọsọ ife niile zoro ezo pụta gị ife mana anyị ga-ana maka Biafra bụ nke m Biafra bụ anyị ike ka ọ bụ nwanne m ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike anyị na-ebi ife kara aka Biafra bụ anyị obodo niile dị n'ụwa niile ya ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike ụmụ Biafra ga-anaba Biafra bụ anyị ike ka anyị dozie obodo anyị ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike ọ na-awa nkụ kara aka Biafra bụ anyị ike anyị enweghị okwu ndị Naijiria ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike agbalị mbọ ka ebe nje n'udo Biafra bụ anyị ike mana ebe ajụrụ ajụ ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike ewee jepụbụ ụkwụ Biafra bụ anyị ike taata ụfọdụ nọ n'akwa ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike ịfụ na be Lego Naija Biafra bụ anyị ike Biafra ga-amazi ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike ụmụ Chineke ndị ọma Biafra bụ anyị ike ibe a bụ egwu agbala nze ọ na-awa nkụsiri ike egwu akpọla agbala nze ka njebe achala kwudo odogwu Mazi nọ na akụmogbu efi odogwu nwa na Amerịka alụsi ego ndị achala onye echichi ife menaghị n'ụwa m nwa Chineke onye ọma ọkwa isi m kụbala uwe egwu ka anyị kele na alụsi ego alụsi mọni alụsi ego na achala odogwu ọ nọ na kumokwu efinu alụsi ego enye bụ alụsi ego na achala odogwu nwa Chineke onye ọma biri alụsi ego Biafra bụ nke anyị alụsi ego na achala odogwu Amerịka gị na likwechili alụsi ego ife mena ide n'ụwa alụsi ego na achala odogwu Ifemena Steven Nwite nwe onye ọha ọzala odogwu Steven Nwite oji wọchị eme ọgụ onye ọma onye ọha ọzala egwu mekeleghị nwa Chineke onye ọma Ebonyi so na Biafra oji wọchị eme ọgọ na-ekene mi obi sikwa gị ike maka na Biafra na-abịa Mr. Chidozie Ọnụọha Biafra striker afụ nwa lota nne ya ofe owo ka isi bi ụwa ya nụ agbala afụ nwa egbe n'ukwu maka Biafra odogwu nwa n'obi n'indi ya ife mena ya one n'ụwa nwa ị ga-adị ka echi nọdụ agwụ agwụ ngwa ka nkene n'odogwu afụ nwa Biafra striker afụ nwa elota nna onye ọbọ owe ịdị m mma afụ nwa elota nna na India ka ọ na-ajụ ị ga-adị ka echi n'ụwa maka echi n'ọdagwu agwụ Mazi Benjamin Nnaji
On the occasion of your rally,
and the baby dies. Let me tell you what the vulture said. The vulture said, left or right, I don't mind. If my wife gives birth to a healthy baby vulture, I don't know what they call it, baby vulture, I will celebrate because I now have a child. But should my wife die in the process with the baby,
and good everyone. I am Mazi. Okay, welcome to Njenje Media TV. Now we are live on our various social media handle. This afternoon, we will be looking at the Obibo issue that has been happening for a very long time. But today we have a man who has been in the epic center of the activities that has been happening in Obibo. I have with me here this evening, Mr. or say Chief Emeka Umabalasi, who is the board chairman, International Society for Civil Liberty and Rule of Law. Emeka is based in Onitsha and has been in the heart of many things happening in terms of trying to find out the real thing happening at the ground zero. I have the pleasure to bring Emeka Umabalasi here. Emeka, if you can kindly unmute yourself, and we welcome you to this evening conversation. My brother, you're welcome.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, all listeners. Thank you very much.
Okay, so having Emeka here, Emeka, you recently released a report where you said that the number of defenseless Obibo residents were abducted and that they disappeared for 4 months. And this abduction happened by the Nigerian army. And you raised an alarm that between 550 to 600 individuals were taken from Obibo. Now, and since the incident of Obibo, there has never been anyone who has been in a position to tell us what actually happened in Obibo. May we have that clarity from you, Emeka?
Thank you very much. You are absolutely correct. The Obibo incident was very, very tragic. It happened around October 2020, when the Nigerian army said that it was moving into Obibo to fish out criminal citizens following the countrywide NSAS protests that led to killing of hundreds of citizens, including dozens of policemen and soldiers. It was in the same NSAS protest that later turned into violence, that not less than 320 defenseless citizens were killed across the country, with Lagos recording more than 70, and so on and so forth. So Obibo was inclusive in the protest. But the governor of the state, Nyesom Wike, for reasons best known to him, took the matter personal and went to the extent of inciting the residents of Obibo against the Nigerian security agencies, particularly the Nigerian army. And along the line, he imposed a curfew and invited the army, and the army in their usual manner, not knowing to Nigerians, most Nigerians went into a war-grade invasion of Obibo. And it was during that invasion that dozens were killed, dozens wounded, and hundreds abducted. So we came in and x-rayed the situation and issued a statement projecting that over 400 from various information gathered, both what we call open source and closed source information that we have verified and found credible. And based on those such pieces of information, we were able to project that 400 residents or defenseless residents of Obibo or more, must have been abducted by Nigerian army and taken to secret detention or dungeons in northern Nigeria. And that is the situation today. As we speak, we have been able to trace not only inter-society in conjunction with other groups, including and individuals, including Barrister Richard Korafa, have been able to trace or establish that not less than they have been able to trace 419 names. So you can now see that we are correct after all. So a few days ago, we did a review, because in social science investigation or research, it is allowed. It's a standard.
Sorry, may I interject here? 419 names of
the abductees, the people abducted from Obibo. 419 names as we speak have been traced. And out of these 419 names, 208 have been freed. Do you understand? Remaining 211.
Yes.
I just got information now, that 30 of the 53 Obibo women among them, young women among them, have just been freed. That is information I got about a minute ago. And the effort has been made to free, I think that should be 33 others, because they were 53 in number located. A review, and we reviewed this thing upwards, and they place it within the confines of 550 and possibly 600 names in total at the end of the day. This is because unknown to us, more people were being located. And just last week, Friday, the Nigerian police, for the first time, nobody knew that they were holding some people. Although I understand that those abductees must have been transferred to them belatedly by the Nigerian army. So they brought out 22 fresh names, fresh persons, and they arraigned them, and they were granted bail. Now, again, the DSS, I think on Monday this week, brought out the 53 women, because, before now we have exposed the DSS and accused them of holding 53 young Obibo women, who were abducted from Obibo. So just like this week, Monday, they brought them out and arraigned them. They brought them out shackled and arraigned them in court, and they were granted bail. Then on the process again, it was discovered that there were 26 other names that nobody is aware of, that are still being detained or held by DSS, making the total I think 26.53 is how many? Is 79, if I'm not mistaken. And among those 79, 53 are women, 26 are men. So that is the situation. As if that is not enough, another discovery was made in faraway Suleja stroke Bida Aziz in Niger State, of the captivity of 100 and the fresh names totaling 110. Those ones are still there. They were abducted.
And these are related to Obibo.
Obibo. All these people are Obibo abductees. We got, it's a through high wired information, contacts, and what have you. For instance, in that, the latest, the one I'm telling you now, we got to know of it through one guy who is 23 years, who went missing on 28th October at Imo River. So the guy happens to be a conductor. So the family gave us information, located inter-society, and gave inter-society information. Evis Ngozi Chibo is the name. And they told us how the guy went missing, how the guy was abducted. He was abducted alongside others while they were heading to Port Harcourt in a commercial vehicle where he was serving as a conductor. So from there to 144 Battalion, Asa, from there to Boli Camp, that is 6th Division in Port Harcourt, from there no more. He disappeared alongside others, and the family took the courage, and they went to the extent of contacting an army officer who, helped them, assisted them. And lately, the army officer informed them that, of course, he's an army officer of Northern Extraction. So he was there. He was one of those guiding them when they were brought to 6th Division. So he told them that he has succeeded in locating the guy to an army base. That's how he put it. To an army base located between Kuje and the Niger. Kuje and Niger State. That's how he put it. So, and then, then I relayed information to Barrister and then others who are assisting, and behold, it was discovered that the same guy we are talking about, in alongside 109 others, are presently held captive in an army base, that is Nigerian Army Commando base, located between Suleja and Bida in Niger State. And of course, I'm sure you know that Niger State has the largest landmass in Nigeria. The landmass of Niger State is a kind of almost roughly 3 times that of the entire Southeast put together. 3 times the landmass of Southeast. So you can imagine that is where 110 of our people, of our defenseless residents of Obibo, have been held captive for more than 4 months. So that is the summary of the situation.
Now, to make sense out of the narration that you've given, you know, in essence, we have a space where something happened in Rivers State, and these people were arrested in Rivers. No crime known, you know, like you said, the dark conductor, they were on their way somewhere in a van, and he got abducted, taken to Niger State. When in Niger State, they were kept in army detention, not even the police, right? They were kept in army detention. Okay.
Abducted by army, and held captive by army.
Okay.
That's
and were there, you know, were there documentations, were there efforts, were those people allowed to contact their families?
That is exactly the point. You know, when we use the word, you know, any reasonable and well-grounded human rights crusader or activist must first of all have legal knowledge of the situation on the ground. When we say abduction, it now boils down to the question you just asked. Abduction by who? By Nigerian Army. Under the existing laws of the country, Nigerian Army lacks power to arrest, detain, investigate, and prosecute citizens or civilians who are not subject to the Armed Forces Act of 2004. The Federal High Court recently gave a validation to that effect in a landmark ruling that took place sometime in last month in February. So that's the word. And another aspect of it is that you have just captured it. Thank you very much for that, your wonderful observation. You cannot, when you abduct, when you said you are arresting somebody, and let me use the word, but not conceding to that fact. Let me use the word arrest in quote. You arrest somebody, you excommunicate the person for his family. You do not, you fail to allow the person access to his family, to his physicians, to his lawyers, to anything that has to do with his family and the beloved ones. You did not, put the arrest, the arrest in quote, to public knowledge. Nowhere was that a so-called arrest reported or recorded officially, or through a public statement, or through official record of Nigerian Army. So, and again, you move the persons you arrested in the dead of the night. You transfer them to you start moving them from one military barrack to another. For instance, when they were abducted, they were first taken to 6th Division at night. From there, they moved them to Obinze the same night. The next day, they saw themselves at Obibo in Owerri. Then they kept them there. In the night again, they start moving them with the same vehicle they were brought to Obinze. The next morning, they saw themselves at Mogadishu barracks in Abuja, and so on and so forth. So you find out that that kind of thing cannot be validly called arrest, even if it was conducted by the Nigerian police force or DSS, not to talk of when it was perpetrated by Nigerian army. That is the position of the law.
Well, I mean, listening to the things you've just said, and I keep asking myself, since this incident, because Obibo, obviously, this incident happened, or rather started October 2020. Since Inter-Society, which you are the board chairman, got involved in this, have you been able to extract any more information directly from the police or the Nigerian army?
Well, the information we have is that there is no need of wasting your time extracting information from an securitization agency of the government that is not directly responsible for the incident or the atrocity conduct we are under complaint. We did a very thorough investigation on the Obibo. The computation of that report is still ongoing by Inter-Society. By the way, the Obibo we are talking about, what happened at Obibo wasn't restricted to Obibo. It can properly be described as mob action, and it was widespread across the country. Now, coming to your question, there is no all effort to get the army speak failed woefully. But the only thing is that you must know that facts are sacred. If a professor is expert in speaking grammar, you can only slap and quieten that professor with statistics and facts. So also the agencies of government. But since we have been able to do our thorough independent investigation, irrefutable and irrebuttable, the Nigerian army has run away from speaking on that particular issue. And by the way, it may interest you to know that all the abductions that took place in Obibo were perpetrated by Nigerian army. The Nigerian army solely abducted those people and solely took them to where they are presently being detained. And that is the situation. And our information was also collaborated by interviews conducted from received from some of the freed victims. For instance, we didn't know that women, the women up to 50 were among those that were abducted. We didn't know. It was in the course of our interview with two young ladies that were freed in January, that they told us that in that female guard room at Mogadishu Barrack, they saw another set of Obibo women numbering over 50. That's how they put it. And so on and so forth, even the cause of raping them, that all of them were in the same guard room and what have you. So it was from that information that we now put and spread our tentacles, and behold, through the sure.
May I interject at this point? Let me stay with the women you've mentioned, about 53 of them. You just quickly said here that the information you had was that these women were abducted from Obibo and they were raped. Did I hear you say that?
I think we should have allowed me to land. I know.
Okay, please go ahead. I mean,
so you can just note it down. So when I must have landed, you can come back with the question, no problem. So as I was saying, so those two ladies were interviewed, and they told us shockingly that, look, Oga, we are not the only female there. In fact, in the course of finding ourselves in the female guard room at Mogadishu Barracks, that we came across, we discovered that there were 50 Obibo women that were, detained, abducted and detained with us. That's this thing. We said, is that so? They said, yes. So after the interview with the ladies, we now spread our tentacles. And behold, the names were located by the time we intervened, because those women we are freed in January. The two ladies were freed in January, and we interviewed them in February, on February 8th. So from that February 8th, we got information, that type of shocking information from them. We now decided to make more inquiries. And in the course of inquiries, we discovered that true, that those women have been in the captive of Nigerian security forces, and presently they are being detained by the DSS. And when we did further investigation, we found out that they were detained severally by the army before being handed over to the DSS. And we, of course, we swung into action and got their names. And we released a statement accusing the DSS of holding 53 young Obibo women. And up to today, some media guys went to DSS spokesman, that one or something, Peter somebody, Dr. Peter somebody. And I said the guy declined. He didn't make any comment on that. Do you understand? So, and as we speak now, my brother Tochukwu, I can confirm to you authoritatively that not only that those women were arraigned on Monday by the same DSS, and they were granted bail leniently, but also as we speak. In fact, your medium is the first to break this news. As we speak, not less than 5 minutes ago, 30 of them have been freed, and efforts are still being made to get the remaining 23 out, alongside 26 other, those 26 have not been, the 26 other males among them have not, their bails have not been processed. But I think he's talking about the other 22 from the other side, brought out by police. So, my brother, that is the situation on the ground. That is what we have found. And the facts are sacred, like I said. Facts do not lie. So, that is the situation.
So basically, if I say that I'm not dumbfounded, I must be lying. That would be an understatement. Now, these women were kept there as probably, quote unquote, sex slave for over 4 months.
Well, we can now come back to your earlier question, very inquisitive and curious. So what happened was, in the course of interviewing the young ladies, one is 22 years, one is 23 years. Those young ladies told us, it's very shocking. They told us what happened. They were serially raped. And they also confirmed that in the course of their captivity in the Nigerian army at Mogadishu barracks, they were there with 50 something, more than 50 other women. And it was not only 2 of them that were raped. That what the soldiers normally do, I don't know how to put it, was, they come today, they say, you, come here. They pick them, that is random selection. They take them out to their dungeon, to their rape confine within the barrack, and they rape them serially. Then after that, they bring them back. Well, the next day, they come back, and so on and so forth. To the extent that one of these 2 women, who was a virgin, when she was struggling with them, 23 years, I think she's the one that is 22 years, when she was struggling with them, she made them to know that she is a virgin. And little do she know that she had just announced, giving the beastly soldiers the delicious food they were looking for. And they mercilessly raped this girl to the extent of inflicting injuries or bruises on her laps and what have you. So it was along that, and to the extent that the ladies also told us that one of them was raped. She fainted and she died. And they gave the name of that lady as Victoria. And they said they did not know the whereabouts of her remains or corpse. So it was from here, from this point, that we got to know that the other ladies among those 53 women also were made rape victims. But not to worry, more revelations are going to come out. But we are just talking about those that we have interviewed and have them on record and on camera.
And this, from your listen, I am the words you've just said. Kind of, as a father, I know how it feels for this.
It's shocking. It's shocking. It is shocking.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless to note that those we pay tax to arm for the protection of the collective, quote unquote, would be in a position to do this to innocent people. I mean, it's unbelievable. But this is the work you do, my Emeka. The question that I would then ask you is there any way you think that this, or rather justice could be, there could be justice for the people that were abused? I mean, I'm not talking about the ones that have been illegally detained for 4 months. Obviously, no crime is less, but it's for the abuse victims. Do you think there is any support?
Well, the two ladies already, their names already ringing bell in certain sensitive quarters all across the world. So this is a very shocking situation. And I'm aware that those who are being freed are likely to be taken to certain sensitive quarters by, in coming days or something like that for those responsible to see, to see what has happened to them. So, of course, there must be justice. And this is more so when crime is not status bar. Crime does not have a expiring date. But I think when something happens like this, in criminology and law, processes are bound. When something happened, for instance, I did not even remember to tell you that soldiers also acted as armed robbers in the course of abducting all the victims. Do you know that among those women, of course, you have a mother, you have a wife, you have relatives that are females. You know how women think and run. Do you know that those 53 women, now 55, including 50, I think 57 now, because among those 22 persons that police belatedly arraigned on Friday last week, among them were 2 women, and they are yet to be freed because of the efforts to fulfill their bail condition. So one thing I didn't let you know is that there was soldiers, our dear soldiers of the Nigerian army also became armed robbers in the course of abducting them, because all their belongings, the phone, the sanitary pads inside the bag, you don't go to the bag of a woman, that, but inside the bag of a woman, I'm sad, but I'm just laughing anyway. So, a lot of things from what we asked them, from inside the 2 women we interviewed. What happened? How about your bags and what have they said? Everything. If they bought new underwears, all of them disappeared. ATM
okay, but hold on. Now you are talking about this. Now, these women were abducted. Obviously, they were not charged. They didn't go. It wasn't arrested. It wasn't an arrest by the police. That meant it's an illegal arrest, meaning they had no prison cloth, meaning they kept the same cloth that they wore, and apparently and invariably the same underwear that they wore at the point of arrest. They just,
that is exactly the point we are making. You abducted somebody. You took away all his or her belongings. If the person abducted was a woman, you took away her bag And inside her bag, both ATM card, national ID card, money. If the lady was a sales girl, you took away money that catch some that were realized from daily sales, and so on and so forth. Her sanitary parts, her bra, if she, decided to have space and what have you, they catch the everything, ATM, phone, SIM card, loaded credit, data, this, that, and what have you. All those things were taken away from them. And we were made subjected to wear, like you said, one set of underwears for a period of 4 months. Nothing. Their families were not away. Nobody was allowed to access them, and so on and so forth. Only God knows. So the soldiers acted as armed robbers, because do you know why we say that? We have been able to release 208 of them, excluding the 30 that have just been announced, freed. We have been able to release 208 of them.
So on the screen here, you will have some of them in court. Were these among these people that we can see?
Yeah. These are the 63 people that were released before this one, before the ongoing process. Do you understand? Okay. So look at these guys now. Those guys you see there, all those clothes you see them wearing were bought newly. All the sandals or what have you see them wearing were bought newly. Every
I can see the bedroom slippers and the
they cannot wear one bedroom slippers for 4 months. So maybe because of the cost and so that's the thing. Everything they wear there was got. Do you know that at a point in the course of releasing freeing about 7 of them, abandoned at a DSS abandoned facility back in January. The DSS refused, insisted that they must be cleaned up before they can release them. So that made the good Samaritans to bring in the new clothes, which they wore and things like that before they were allowed to be, before they were freed. So, my submission is that the soldiers of Nigerian army became armed robbers too. They also robbed them, because all the people that were freed, none of them recovered a dime. None of them recovered a single item that he or she was with during the time of his or her abduction. None of them. None of those items has been cited till today. And there is also danger. For instance, there is most likelihood that their bank account must have been tampered by way of fraudulent withdrawal. Do you understand? These are the things we're talking about. So a lot of things, of course, you know that in crime, somebody can go for break and burglary, and along the line commit another set of offense like armed robbery, like stealing, and so on and so forth, like aggravated assault, like property damage. Whereas originally he was accused of burglary. So that is exactly the same. So there is a litany of crimes, and those crimes are heinous. But that is the situation. It's not the issue of saying people were abducted and held for 4 months. What is the position of the law, position of the Constitution with respect to all these things, vis-a-vis those who abducted them, and the provision of the law? It's also another aspect of what we are talking about, because we cannot pretend to be, if we hold this program and get me and participated in this program, and in the end there is no citation of what the law says, then it will look as if that Nigeria is a jungle. Nigeria is a lawless society where anybody can do anything and get away with it.
So thank you very much. So through your effort and the effort of Inter-Society, over 500 of these young men and women been discovered. Now, we are only talking about the ones that are lucky to be alive. if my memory serves me right, I recall that you once made a publication as to the ones that weren't so lucky to be alive. Can you walk us through that? As to how you got.
Yeah, you know what happened in the whole thing. The whole thing started. The discovery started in Niger State, where the lawyer doggedly and powerfully discovered that these guys were abducted and taken to Niger State, where they were detained in 4 secret military or army dungeons located in Jeba, Zungeli, Katangola, and one other city in Niger State. So when 52 of them that were discovered were freed through judicial process by High Court of Niger State, by Magistrate Court of Niger State, and by Federal High Court of Niger State, then we interviewed some of them, and we found out that about 3 of them died in custody. I think including Iwagu and Anyang, and one other that whose first name was already given. There are people who died because those people know them too well, and they said they died in military custody in the course of their detention in Niger State. So that is the thing, and then the investigation, like I said, is still ongoing. So in the course of further investigation, we are going to find out whether some people other people who, if any, were tortured to death in the course of being held captive in the military, in Nigerian army dungeons, secret dungeons located in different parts of northern Nigeria. So that is the situation. So you are in order. We have that record.
Okay, thank you very much. So, and again, those confessional statements by those that were abused, the ladies that were abused, you said you have those statements also in audio and in video as well, right?
No, of course. The audio, is a sensitive issue. So it's not the same way you record confessional statement of those who were, held captive for 4 months. It's the same way you are going to record this one. So you must have to understand the fact that these are young women who have future and all that, and use the best application, the safest method of getting them talk. And that's exactly what we have done.
Okay. That's marvelous, and it will help in the prosecution, I believe, of these case later. Now, before I get the public who have joined us here to chip in with one or two questions, I would want to know, what is your view and what role do you think that the governor of Rivers State played in all this? Because obviously you started by saying that when we had the NSAS was a nationwide issue. So from your engagement with what has happened in Obibo, the question therefrom is, what happened in Rivers State that made it a different kettle of fish?
Well, the governor in question, who says he's a lawyer, is complicit. Is inescapably complicit. And most of our researches and investigations and publications are guided by law. And to that effect, the law has a provision to assess some of these things. For instance, the governor is vicariously liable. He's vicariously liable. He made a declaration, he imposed coffee, he gave a criminological theory that was later found to be half-baked or untruth. He said he had intelligence that those who killed. So meanwhile, the same governor didn't see anything wrong in killing of civilians. Dozens of civilians were killed at that particular point in time. But the governor was too particular about the safety of uniformed personnel and all that is police and army. So the governor said he had intelligence that those people who killed soldiers and policemen, either 6 soldiers or policemen or thereabout, were members of IPOB or IPOB terrorists, as he put it. He said he had intelligence. Now, on account of the so-called intelligence, he imposed curfew and he invited the army. So you look at it from the legal point of view, the governor misfired, he goofed unpardonably. His behavior was unloyal. He did not act as a lawyer. Because as a lawyer and as a Democrat, what he should have done is that if the same intelligence that reviewed, disclosed to you that those people who were responsible for the killing of soldiers and policemen are particular members of a particular group, this intelligence would have also led the governor to fish out, use, through the process of deployment of the detectives and the intelligence agents to go after those people. Because if intelligence report has told you who committed what, this intelligence report would have, it should tell you where the person that committed what can be found. That's the logic. That's the law. So, but, trying to, I think the governor went out of the way. The governor politicized, reason best known to him. He politicized the whole thing. He turned what was clearly mob action. In international terminology, what happened in Nigeria is called violent protest. Violent protest. Instigated by state agents. The protest didn't start violently, but it started peacefully, and state agents instigated it. For instance, the Lekki massacre. For instance, the sponsorship of hoodlums on religious ground, who went after those who do not support, who didn't support the protest. Those who supported the protest and their allies, and started attacking them and destroying their property to the extent of killing dozens of them across the country. Then the peak of it was the Lekki massacre. It was at this particular point in time, the protest, people got angry and they became violent. And the violence spread across the country. And it was not restricted to Obibo. And that is why it can best be described as mob action, or a fallout of a violent protest. And the governor hijacked it and used it to play politics to the extent of inciting the security agencies against the innocent and defenseless Obibo people, and to the extent of inviting army, the army that has secularity question that has remained unanswered today. And that's exactly what happened. So the governor is culpable. Is inescapably culpable. Likewise, the GOC of 6th Division and other principal officers of the division, and those we are compiling their names, and of course the immediate past chief of army staff. So that is the thing, because when Nigerians thought that, when they told Nigerians that they were moving into Obibo on professional army operation or military operation, we didn't know that they were going to Obibo to execute an ethnic agenda, because the gravity of atrocities, the level of atrocities that happened in that Obibo, I mean, there is no better way to describe it than execution of ethnic agenda and ethnic cleansing, originating from what we call racial profiling, ethnic profiling. That's exactly what happened at Obibo. So that's the thing.
But
so
Obibo,
Wike is closely culpable. It's inescapable culpable. That is the
I do appreciate. I do appreciate that fact, but in trying to drive the narrative of ethnic profiling, now I am made to understand that in Obibo you have Igbos, Ikweres, Eches, and many more other ethnic nationalities there.
It
Now,
depends. It depends on the historical background, the historical facts you have, and I'm sure you are aware that. Am I still communicating?
yes, we're here, but it appears your camera has gone off, but go ahead.
Okay. So what we are talking about is dependent on the historical facts. The Kwele, the Che, the this, the that, the Anioma, the Eznifite, the Nbise, the what have you. All these people are fundamental component of Igbo Federation, Igbo ethnic nationality. I'm telling you as a researcher. So those people, you are talking about mini. They are not even micro nationalistic component. They are component of Igbo Federation. Obibo is a densely Igbo populated area of River State. So if you are talking about a part of
Oh, okay. Sadly here, I think the connection to my good friend Emeka is gone off. And we will be reconnecting back to him and we see how that goes. While we wait, many of you, if you want to speak while I want to get Emeka back on, Marcel, I can see, you are in the house. Can we quickly have some, yourself and Mazo Biokoli maybe, if we can quickly have one or two of your submissions before the main guest joins us back again. So,
okay, thank you so much, Mazi. Okay, I'm as shocked as anyone that's hearing this. I mean, at a point, I just closed my eyes and it was like, tears wants to drop off my eyes, and I was like, I mean, this is really happening in a country and all of us feel normal. Mogadishu barracks that was mentioned is just few miles away from Aso Rock, seat of power. I mean, for those of you that knows Abuja very well, Mogadishu barrack is just at the back of Aso Rock. So it beats my imagination. I mean, I've been to these barracks. I have friends there, so I normally go there for the fish market. And that was the same barracks that was bombed the very first time when the Boko Haram issue started. Now, the fish market used to be outside the barracks when it was bombed. And then after that incident, they moved it into the barracks. So it's a place I go regularly. So to think that the place I go to meet my friends and to hang out with my friends for fish and drink is the same place where over 50 of Nigerian women, young ladies, 23 virgins, could be held captive and then raped consistently for 4 months. It's crazy. I mean, I don't just want to imagine it. Even in a war situation, if Nigeria is fighting war with another country, there's rules of engagement. In a war situation, they are what they call prisoners of war. When you even have people that you caught in the act, as in real fierce battle, and you arrest them, international regulations has situations that you have to treat prisoners of war. Now, this is not a war situation. This is a national army to its citizens. Again, we need to put this to perspective, because when people keep saying Obibo residents, I don't want to call them Obibo residents. I call them Nigerians. And that is the narration that has to go out, because some people will feel very, very unconcerned. 50 women moved from a particular location overnight to another location in the capital city. It looks as if most atrocities that's actually happening in Nigeria is actually happening behind the president's backyard, and nothing is happening. We know what happened during the NSAS protest, where people came out on the street of Abuja with weapons and government SUV vehicles unmarked and started ordering thugs around. So it looks as if most of the atrocities happening in Nigeria actually happens just behind the presidential system. One of the questions I might want to ask when he comes back is that those one that was known
Okay,
to be
hold on.
dead. Okay.
Okay,
Is it
hold
back?
on. I think Emeka, welcome back.
We
I
lost
can
you.
see.
We lost momentarily.
Yes.
Sorry about
Okay,
that.
Okay, thank you.
that's fine. Can you go ahead with your presentation that you? Yeah.
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it me or him?
No, you, because you're being you're the speaker now.
Okay. So I was saying, I was making reference to law. I say section 35(4) is very clear. Section 35(4) talks about the duration within which a citizen of Federal Republic of Nigeria, validly or invalidly accused of committing the highest crime in the land, can be held before being taken to court for purpose of investigation. And it's very clear. And this particular section is in gross breach under the in the instant case. Then if you also look at section 36(4)(5) of the same constitution, within the one that talks about right to fair hearing. So you also find out that it was also in gross breach in the present, in the case, in the instant case. So there is no, and again, you look at the, let me use the word, in quote, arresting authority. How does the law, do they have a position in the law? The people, the agency of government that perpetrated that act, was it legal? Is it allowed to do that? My answer is that it has no, the Nigerian Army has no question, it has no basis. The Nigerian Army acted abominably and atrociously. It has no constitutional backing. It has no legal backing. Like I said, Army is disempowered to arrest, detain, investigate, prosecute civilians or citizens that are not subject to the Armed Forces Act of 2004. That is to say, Army was created to manage its own business. That is why you now see you have this court-martial thing. Army cannot court-martial civilians. Army can only court-martial members of Nigerian armed forces, bound or guided by the Armed Forces Act of 2004. So everything that the Army did, that is why when we started exposing them, what they did was to start transferring those people, to start to transfer those people, those in their captivity hurriedly to DSS and other facilities, just to escape. But then it was already too late. As we speak now, the Nigerian Army is still holding 110 of our innocent and defenseless brothers in far away Niger State, in Bida, for over 4 months. They are still there as we speak. So there is no basis. The Army, the law says, if for any reason the Army arrests, because power of arrest is exercised by everybody, including you, Tochukwu, or and others who are listening to us. But the law says when you arrest and you are not competent to detain or investigate or try, you hand over. So how can Nigerian Army abduct citizens, held them in captivity for over 4 months without handing them over? They can't even send them to court because they lack power of prosecution. They can't prosecute. You see? So in essence, the law is very clear. When law is written in black and white, it goes beyond argumentation and sentiments. Sure. You can, as we speak now, Google the Constitution. You have it. You are ICT expert. You have expertise in ICT. Google the 1999 Constitution. Go to section 35, subsection 4, and see it for yourself. Go to section 36(5), sub 5, and see it for yourself. Go to section 42, freedom from discrimination, and see it there. Go to section 33, right to life, you see it there. Dignity of human person, 34, and see it there. Personal liberty, 35, and see it there. And so on and so forth.
Does the Constitution mean anything
but that is no. But if at the end of the day, you take them to court, the judge will be first with looking at the Constitution. That is the grand norm. We are not an anarchical country. We are not a lawless country. The Constitution is there, is the law for now. So, and it is our responsibility, me and you, to point these things out. Never mind that sometimes when people do the analysis, they do them outside the facts and law. You must have to anchor whatever you are submitting within the confines of law and facts. These are the two things.
Okay, thank you very much. So before I let others come in and ask questions, can we quickly, obviously these things has happened. I'm aware that these crimes are very, very serious crimes that should be looked into beyond even the nation called Nigeria. Therefore, the question is, does INSA Society have any plans to approach other international organizations to seek for justice and redress?
Of course, the answer is yes, and but it's not only restricted to INSA Society. You know, one thing with data mining is that when you embark on data mining, and in the end you're able to be successful in such an embarkation, what is required is for the organization to take it to the next level, or another organization or anybody to take it to the next level. What is required is just for you to acknowledge the intellectual rights of the originator of the research work or investigation, and that's all. But right now, what we are trying to do is to look at what is obvious. And what is it that is obvious? Our brothers and our sisters, hundreds of them are still languishing. There are those that we have not discovered. We are yet to discover. Maybe in coming weeks, because of the attacks, because of the exposition and what have you, the authorities of the government, securitization authority of Nigeria, of the government of Nigeria, will be able to arraign more people, or we will be able to discover more names and their locations. And when such discoveries are made, then the needful will be done. So, and when you find, like for instance now, there is nothing you can do for now, primarily, than to get those 110 of our people who are languishing in faraway Bida out and allow them to breathe a fresh air of freedom. Just as same thing with those people, the 26 fresh names that have just been discovered languishing in the DSS. And all those people that have been granted bail, but they are yet to be free. So you have to make effort to make sure that they are freed. And from there, you take it. Like I said, crime is not status bar. Crime doesn't have a spiraling date. The man who was the president of Chad, look at when he was president, 1990 to what? And today is serving life jail and what have you. So crime has no... and you are correct also when you mention the issue of international dimension of the atrocity crimes that we are complaining. Yes, of course. Apart from the 1999 Constitution, there are a lot of several international law treaties that are binding on Nigeria, with legal binding effect on Nigeria, which Nigeria voluntarily acceded or made itself a state party. So, and these laws are also being extracted, and a lot of options are being extracted too. So at the appropriate time, international mechanisms of justice shall be fully exploited in this respect. But for now, what we are trying to do, like I said, is to make sure that those who are still unlawful behind bars are freed and are allowed to have a fresh air of freedom. Then we take it from there. But like I said, other organizations can as well do, a lot other organizations can do. Any other person can take it to the next stage. So that is exactly the point. In fact, we are working towards, concluding the report on Obibo. So when we are done with the report on Obibo, it can now be a valid document which anybody can cite. Good that in inter-society has earned the credibility all over the world. So our reports are very much acceptable widely. So that is the situation for now.
Well, thank you very much, for that great insight into what is happening. And on that note, I will take questions from the audience, and kindly raise your hand if you want to ask or make any comment. If it's a question, please not more than 30 seconds. If it's an input, not more than 2 minutes. Now, I will take Nwankwo Nwachukwu. Please, can you unmute yourself and kindly make your presentation, Nwankwo?
Yeah, Mazi, okay. I greet you. Thank you for the good job you are doing. I'm calling from Iceland.
Go ahead and make your presentation or ask your question to the guest, please. Thank you.
Yeah, my question is this. First of all, I have heard about these issues of kidnap, and I know our leader have made a frantic effort. That is what is making an improvement of their release. So I want to thank you for the good job you are doing. So my question is this: what is the governor? Because this is the people of his state that this thing happened to. What is the position of the governor in respect of these said people? Because Obibo is in River State. So what is his own responsibilities? Because he is the principal person who is in charge of the state. Will be held is accountable to any citizen that is
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So can I take the next person? Kevin will go. Can you quickly ask your question, please, Kevin?
Good day, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, quickly. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Good day, everybody. Good day, Mazi. Thank you for having me. So I think mine is the kind of suggestion and also to say what, I think one thing in Nigeria is the blood. The only thing that is holding Nigeria one up to date is the blood of Igbos. I don't know why they cherish like I've been hearing this in the whole night. I've been shedding tears. I've been like, wow. So this thing has been happening, and this man called himself a governor. He's been walking around everywhere, smiling, happy, and he knows about all these things. You can't tell me he doesn't know. He's aware of all these things that are happening. So I feel like it is time for everybody, for mostly with Igbos, to know that the only thing that makes Nigeria one today is the blood of the Igbos. And the earlier we realize this, that is nothing. Even if we go to international, these people, they have more money, they have more connected. Even no news have ever had about. Even AIT, and all of them, they have never carried about this news to show you that they love it when Igbos are being massacred, are being killed. So my thing is, please let us join hands and see what we can do mostly for our Igbos. Nigeria is not for us. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Uche Eze, can you please ask your question quickly? Uche Eze, quickly.
Okay. I would like to thank my brother Mecca for coming up with this information to us. I have two questions. What are the reasons given to you by the army? And two, has any organization made any contact with you guys? Thank you.
When you say any organization, what do you mean? So what sort of
Any,
organization?
I mean like human rights organization. That's what I meant.
Inter-society is a kind of like inter-society
Yeah,
is a
I
human
know.
rights organization.
I know. I mean, if other ones had made, for example, international human rights or,
Okay.
other ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, Emeka, I think the two questions there, you can take those questions first, then we'll come back again and take a couple of them before we round up. Quickly.
Just remind me if I forget. One question. The first question is talking about asking what the governor of Rivers State has done or is doing. And I think
yes.
The governor of Rivers State is fully aware of what is going on. He's a barrister. He's a governor of one of the high-profile states in Nigeria, and he was at the center, and he's still at the center of the atrocity crimes. I've explained it at the beginning of this program that he invited the soldiers, and I think when he got the wind of the level of atrocities perpetrated by soldiers, he started showing off. Is it image? What do you call it? Do you people call it image laundering or what have you? He started trying to do one or two things to brush aside or to dwarf the atrocity crimes under complaint. For instance, he started by inviting some persons to come and commission this project, that project, and what have you. But during that time that happened, when he got the hint, he started inviting groups after groups, and when they started telling them, look, they said I killed Igbos at Obibo. Nobody was killed. They are lying, this, that, and what have you. I remember Hannes and Igbo then going to clap for him without visiting the crime scene. I also remember the Southeast governors visiting him, and so on and so forth. So he is aware of what happened. But the only thing is that there is no Nigerians are not kind of people that easily say sorry or to show remorse whenever they get involved in this type of atrocities. But what they will, instead of showing remorse, they will insist in trying to do everything within their power to suppress or to justify what they have done. So that is exactly the fact with the problem with the weak, and the weak is a kind of arrogant that is disturbing him. He never. There is nothing. I don't think there is anything he can do, because doing anything in a contrary will mean him, probating and reprobating. So I think he is doing everything possible to suppress the facts and what have you. But you can't suppress facts. So that is the situation. That is why we say, come rain, come sunshine. He's involved. He's a complicit, inescapably speaking. The second question is talking about what our organization, whether we have been contacted with respect to this by any other organization. Of course, we are not bothered about waiting for anybody to contact us. But I can tell you here that we have received tremendous solidarity as well as this matter is concerned, from people and the groups that are sane and that are humanistic nature. And I don't want to go into the workings of some organizations. Some organizations prefer to inherit a phenomenon exclusively, and whenever there is this thing, so they don't. So, but I know that a lot of people recently we came up with a coalition, an international coalition that which Tochukwu's Zoke's group is part of them, and they spoke thunderously and internationally on the same issue. And the thing is ongoing. It's not ending tomorrow. Crime does not end. Does not happen and end. Same day it happened or it was perpetrated. So it's something that requires consistency and what have you. So we're on it, and as weeks or months come and go, people we continue to understand the dimension the matter is taking. It has happened, and this is more so when the lawyers and criminologists will always tell you that when a crime is committed and it is not properly documented, investigated and documented, then no crime has been committed, and you have technically set free the perpetrators. But when it is committed and it is properly investigated and documented, then we have then a crime has not only been committed, but the perpetrators have been marked and given a kind of a dent for the rest of their life, because they will never know peace for the rest of their life because it is already databased. Thank you so much. Am I forgetting any other question, please?
No. I think that those are clearly the two questions. But let me bring in Mazi Obiokul. Ojoli Bozi, you're welcome here. So can I have your contribution or your question to Emeka?
Chief Ezeoke, thank you so much for this opportunity. Emeka, I greet you with the sincere greetings of peace.
And I'm seeing you for the first time. Well done.
We have been talking for quite some time. Chief Ezeoke, the honest truth here is that ever since I became a human rights activist from civil liberties organization, the conduct of the Nigerian army has remained consistent without change. And the honest truth is that there has not been so many organizations like Intersociety who has challenged them to do right in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And secondly, the apathy and the attitude of our people in the eastern part of Nigeria specifically has always been that of disdain, because we do not pay any attention to our citizens. You saw what happened in Ibadan, and about 4 governors went down to Ibadan to discuss when there was a conflict between the Yorubas and the Hausas. But in our own case, you were a witness to what happened with Modo going to River State and our governors. Nobody cared to go to Obibo. I was consistently highlighting this fact that we already judged our people, found them guilty, and left them to die. Now, the rape of these women and the other 109 still left in Bida, it aroused so much pain in our hearts. And when we got in touch with Intersociety, the question we wanted to ask them first was, how are you guys coping? And do you need help? And we only found out that they did not even have enough money to prosecute these things. And we sent out letters to a lot of Igbo organizations in diaspora. And regrettably, only one of the organizations responded. The rest of them up to today felt it did not concern them. And some of these organizations, painfully, are even run by women who know that virgins from Igbo land, which is what in Igbo society happened, and Alo Melo. And these women did not show any empathy nor concern, even to call Intersociety to ask questions and understand the pain and the whole process of what Intersociety is going through to get these women freed. And up till as we speak now, the Igbo society is doing nothing. Njenje Media can only do what it can do. You're doing your best as a human being. But again, Igbo people need to invest in media and the Igbo people need to begin to tell their stories. I've heard a lot of our people complain about the Yoruba media, not AIT and the rest. They cannot tell your story. Our stories need to be told by us. Njenje is doing so much for our people, for Nigerians and everybody. You're giving people the platform to air their voices. But in terms of human rights, Nigerian human rights has never improved. Rather, it has deteriorated under this regime. I remember as student union leaders, we were picked in Port Harcourt, and before we knew what was happening, that was in 1987, we ended up in Maiduguri prison. And that is the worst prison then that you can be dropped in. They left us there for 3 months. And one morning they just opened the door and said, hey, Malamobi, just go. Nothing, no money, nothing. And we had to go to the Igbo traders in Maiduguri. They contributed money and gave to us that we went back to the University of Jos. So this attitude of inhuman treatment of Igbos and a lot of Nigerians have been consistent. It is only now that a lot of organizations as Inter-Society is beginning to call them into question. And we need to do a lot to bring the European Union, the International Court of Justice, and other human rights citizens go and other human rights organizations to the know and understanding of what is really happening in Nigeria. As we speak, Nigeria is going into abyss. There is no law, there is no order anymore. Each day you can see what is happening. So, but in terms of Obiwo, I have repeatedly said it, even as we speak, Chief Ezeoke, as we speak, send your journalists to Obiwo. Obiwo is still under siege. You have to drive around. You cannot go anymore from School Road into Obiwo. From the express, you have to go around multiple roads before you're able to get into the Obiwo main town from the other side of the express road going towards School Road. The other Umuebule side is a little bit free. So they are still under siege. They are still being maltreated. Some of them are still paying bribe to be able to access their properties and their goods in Obibo. So the oppression has not stopped.
Sorry, Mazi Obiokoli, may I interject? To who are they paying this bribe to?
When you, for instance, there was an incident we had, a young man who was shot, was hiding in one of the rooms, and we tried to get him out. We now had to get a police officer from Port Harcourt to drive down there to see how to get this guy out of the place to the hospital. There was a total blockage, and they had to pay people to be able to access School Road in Obibo and even getting up to the main market, the market in Obibo. So the siege is still continuing. It's not like Obibo is now free for you to drive in like you would drive into any other place in Port Harcourt. It is still happening. And I recall speaking to Senator Abaribe. I asked him a question. I said, has the Senate ever tried to find out how many illegal and legal detention centers exist in Nigeria? And his answer was on the contrary. So we don't even know all the secret detention centers that are operating. So we don't even know. All we know is that 109 of them is still in Bida. So we might not even be able to find out all the other ones if they are killed or used for organ donations, which is being a market which is thriving in Nigeria today. Some of our people might be involved in this organ donation. The 3 of them that died, what circumstances, how did they die? Nobody is talking to us, except the witnesses there might be able to tell us if they were poisoned, if they were used for organ donation. We don't know up to today. It hurts me so much when I read everything, and when we get feedbacks and reports from Inter-Society. Sometimes I find it extremely difficult to understand how we can continue to operate in this sort of country and with this sort of people that treat us with neglect. Again, some blame needs to go back to Nnamdi and the IPOB, because if this NSAS thing, we stayed away from it. I mean, if Radio Biafra had stayed away from it to a very large extent, I don't think this Obibo thing would have escalated to this level it did. But because of that involvement and because of that commentary and all the other statements from Radio Biafra, some of these things became a Biafran issue, or rather an Igbo issue or IPOB issue. If it was just left for the Nigerians to deal with their issue, the NSAS project, we were not aware of it. We did not know when the Western people planned it. We did not know when it was executed. We don't know where the money came from. But from nowhere, we got ourselves involved. And any person who is a student of history will know that anything happening with Nigerians, the moment Igbos get involved, it becomes an Igbo issue. We saw that in 1967. We saw that after in 1979. We saw that when just something happened in Belgium, somebody criticized Mohammed and the Igbos were killed. So we have always bared the brunt of any criminality or any incident that happens in Nigeria. I would have expected any student of history to have stayed away from it. I think my heart is heavy tonight, Chief Ezeoke. I can't speak any further, but I thank you so much for what you're doing. Comrade Emeka, may God continue to guide and protect all of you and keep you alive. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mazi Obiokoli. You have eloquently put it. I could not disagree in nothing that you have said that I can disagree with. I completely agree with you. Again, I think we can be wiser. I let Marcel pick up from where you stopped. Marcel, over to you.
Okay. I wanted to make this clear. I do not think anybody should be blamed for the actions of Wike and Nigerian military. Neither Nnamdi Kanu or anybody. Those people should be held strictly accountable for their actions. There are rules of engagement, and if we are in a small global community, people should be held accountable. Abducting hundreds of citizens to a remote location and raping them massively for 4 months, you can't blame anybody out of it. It's an action that was taken by an institution, and that institution will have to be held totally accountable for that action. So let's not mix things up. And then secondly, I needed to quickly confirm from Emeka, the 3 dead people that was confirmed, was their bodies released to their family? That is one question. Their bodies were not released to their family up to now?
No. How can they release their bodies when they excommunicated the living ones from their families? And their families are not aware of their whereabouts up to today.
Okay, my other question is this. I listened to a lady from that zone. I can't remember her name now. She gave an account of what erupted out in Obibo, saying that it was first a disagreement between the Hausa Fulanis and the Igbos during the NSAS case and all. I know that story went on. Now I want to ask you, looking at the people that has been released so far, what is the ethnic composition? Does it reflect the 2 regions that was fighting each other, or just one?
I don't think. I think just like I said from the one, what happened at Obibo was ethnic execution of an ethnic agenda and ethnic cleansing and ethnic profiling. I don't think it has nothing to do with and those atrocities were perpetrated by state actors. There are state actors and non-state actors, but in this respect, they were all perpetrated by the state actors. So all the names that have been located so far, there are 98% Igbos and 100% Christians. And again, let me quickly make a point here. I don't want to know, just like you said, Kevin, you made a very valid point. We don't run a jungle here. We run a process. We run a society. We run a society governed by law, by a set of laws. And including the conduct of the Nigerian army, conduct of the Nigerian police, so conduct of SSS, they are all governed by rules of engagement, code of conduct, ethical conduct, and the laws. Therefore, if they are in Oyo State, there was a violent clash between Hausas and the Yorubas. Heaven didn't fall. So it's normal. So let nobody try to blame it on. So they said there was a clash misunderstanding between the Hausas and the Igbos. Of course, if there was a clash, the government is there to be able to manage the stop the clash and the quench it as it were. And again, this I also agree with you. I do not think that I was quarreling with a lawyer the other day. If somebody gives you a brief and you are a lawyer and you are going into that brief, there are certain questions you're supposed to ask before going into that. So you don't have to say, because I have been asked to go and do this, you not jump into doing that without observing the ethical rules guiding your profession and what have you. So if Nnamdi Kanu was on Radio Biafra and they lent support to NSAS protest, and we're all Nigerians, we're all political animals, we're all part of this country, and there is no way we can run away. For instance, the number of people, the people that were killed at Lekki, they are composed of 50% Igbos and 50% Yorubas. The same thing applies to the injured one. So we cannot stay by the fence simple because the Nigerian government is persecuting us. We must have to understand the composition of the present government and the motive or intent of the present government of Nigeria. It boils down to the proscription of this thing and use of the word IPOB as a death code against to levy war, unwarranted and unjustified war against Igbo population, which somebody observed here has been happening since 1937 or 1935. So it didn't start today. So I do not think that anybody should blame. Incidentally, it's funny enough, the cost of bringing out these people, from the information I gathered, is the same group we are talking about here. That is why sometimes in most of our publications, we try to single out a paragraph of commendation to the role played by the same Nnamdi Kanu and the IPOB, leadership of IPOB in this respect. A lot of things they have done in the area of assistance and what have you. So that is my submission, just to support what you have just said. Thank you.
Okay, finally, this whole issue seems to have been quieting down, as nobody is hearing about. Nobody heard about it in the country. This is my first time of actually hearing the breakdown. What do you think happened? What is the? Are you not talking to the media, the AIT, the channels, the Punch, all the top, all the other? You know, what's actually happening?
You know, when you want to do struggle in Nigeria, Tochku is aware of what I'm saying. Thank God for him who started this Gengen Media. When he started it, I thought he was joking. But now I see that he is very, very determined. See, my brother, this is a country that is divided heavily or deeply divided along ethno-religious lines. If you want to do human rights activism in Nigeria and you want to defend your people, you want to identify with your people, you must have to be ready to carry a cross, because there will be backbiting, there will be frustration, there will be isolation, there will be attacks, there will be a lot of gang-ups against you, because you are not sounding the language that you are supposed to sound for you to be able to have, international linkages, contacts, connections, and what have you. Certainly applies to somebody going into media practice in Nigeria, or somebody engaging in media advocacy or social advocacy using the Nigerian media. So, I mean, in fact, we summarize the whole thing into 3 types of violence being faced by Igbos in Nigeria. The cultural violence, that includes the media blacklisting and what have you, by the mainstream media in Nigeria. Then the structural violence, that is exclusion and segregation and what have you. And of course, physical violence, the attacks and killing and the property destructions and things like that. These are the 3 types of violence that have been fundamentally instituted and waged against the Igbo population. So media you are talking about, a lot of water has passed under the bridge in Nigeria within the context of media industries or media practice. I mean, you can't imagine going to AIT. You can't force yourself to AIT except you are invited. You can't force yourself to channels except you are invited, and so on. And a whole lot of interest, vested interest, even in the print media, a whole lot of interest. The immediate past, the chief of army staff was so heavily influential in the print media that whatever thing you write against Nigerian army and what I mean, you count it dead on arrival. But because of the waves we have made, sometimes we manage to get some of these things published in the Nigerian print media, like Vanguard, like Guardian, like Sun, and also small ones, and of course the online media like this one, Tochku is anchoring, and the others like News Express, Elomba, Voice, and what have you, and things like that. So that has been the situation. But to be frank with you, the Obi Woten has been going viral all over the media. Or maybe you are looking out to see it broadcast or aired by AIT channels and what have you. What is there's TVC and what have you. First of all, you ask yourself, who is behind TVC, who is behind AIT, who is behind channels TV and what have you, and the money involved and a lot of influence and things like that. So you can't just catapult yourself to AIT and start participating in a program, except where you are invited, or except where you have the capacity to have your way, to be able to do that. So, but then we are using what we have to get what we want, and then it is paying off. So it has been all over the media, even the Vanguard and what have you have been, this day. I mean, they have been following the stories and so on and so forth. And lately, a lot of people, a couple of them are still coming to speak or to interview us or ask questions about the development of the incident. That is it.
Thank you very much, my brother. And, I can't thank you enough for agreeing to come and speak to us. As you all know, on this platform, we are unconventional. Most times we do not speak on those things that the mainstream media do, as we have always had in private conversation. I mean, I no longer want for us to sit back and blame some people saying we are being blacklisted. If someone is blacklisting us, for Christ's sake, we have the tools. We unblacklist ourselves. Yes. Therefore, that's why we are here. We can decide to have this conversation as long as the internet permits. We can decide 3 hours, 4 hours, we pay ourselves. If we go to other platforms, I don't think we can even afford 15 minutes. But here, we can decide as much as we can, and we have to keep pushing out that narrative. I think one of them said here at the beginning, no one can tell our stories better than we do. And in doing that, we tell our story. This is firsthand. On that note, I must, if I take some comments from people watching on the social media handle, especially on YouTube and Facebook, and many of them are asking, how can they help in this legal action? Now, Emeka, I want to push it to you, if that is okay with you for Inter-Society. If people are saying, how can they help? When it comes to finance, I don't want to get involved because, that's a very an easier platform to blackmail people in our place. But Inter-Society is an organization that runs a legitimate bank account that engages in legitimate engagement in Nigeria. Therefore, I would say, if that sits all right with you as the chair board of director of Inter-Society, would you mind availing those that have been asking on how they can support the work you do in terms of getting we have, I think you said we have 23 women left, 30 just got freed about an hour ago, and we still have about 110 men in detention. So if we put our men together, I think we have about 133 people still in detention. Is that correct?
Yeah, something like that. It used to be 211, then remove 30 from it 211,
Yes.
you remove 30 from it, it gives you 181.
Okay.
Mm.
So, and that's, obviously there are some legal bills to pay. And incidentally, it appears, but I don't want you to go into details, but it appears from the work you and the lawyers are doing, the state is getting jittery. I saw a photo that was sent to the Njenje Media News desk that on the attempted murder of one of the lawyers that got these people out.
Oh.
Do you want to say one or two things about that without letting too much out?
Yeah, sure. The lawyer was escape assassination. The lawyer escaped assassination because he was given information from the desk of Inter-Society. So he now acted on that information, and that led to discovery of 110 or 109 fresh names, including that one citizen, Ngozi Chibo Evis. And the lawyer used his tentacles to locate the particular location of the military, the army base. So he went to the army base to confirm the captivity of the 110 persons. He got there and confirmed it. It was on his way back to Abuja from that particular army base between Suleja and Bida, that not more than 20 minutes drive from the base, from the army commando base. He was double crossed, and that was how he narrowly escaped being assassinated. So that one is a fact on the ground. And quickly about the issue of help. Yes, Jochukwu, I agree with you. When it comes to issue of money, we know that it is one of the major challenges, major negative, this thing, I don't know how to put it, with which the Igbo people are knowing today. It is a general belief that Igbo people can't do something for themselves or for the society without asking for cash support or without asking to be paid. And I agree with you in that respect. And the people like us at Inter-Society are very, very mindful of who wants to support or who will go and ask for support. But like this Obibo of 18, yes, we are. It is also important for us to clarify that we are part of it, but we are not. There is inside it we have subdivision of labor. There is aspect that has to do with lawyers handling the matter, and in times of litigation, in times of legal process. Let me use the word legal processes. So Inter-Society is not deeply involved in times of legal processes. A lawyer and his colleagues are handling that, and they are in touch with some of our brothers, like I mentioned a while ago. But generally speaking, that incident is a project. It's a bigger project. It's a project that involves a lot of things. The documentation, the research, the investigation, the databasing, the sharing of information, and so on and so forth, the archiving, and the transportation cost and what have you, and so on and so forth. So that makes it a project, a general project. And if anybody wishes to support Inter-Society, fine and good. It is a project, like I said, but we are not insisting that we must be paid or money must be given to us for us to be able to do it. Because we have been doing it since December, since December till now. If we calculate the monetary worth of what we have done in a market, in open market, it runs into millions of naira. But we are not spending that, even though we need money to do that. We are getting the result. We are doing it according to our own destiny, while the lawyers and his colleagues are also doing their own part on that aspect. So that is the situation report. So I believe that what I can only say is that Inter-Society is not only working on Obibo abductions. Inter-Society is also working on general report and documentation on Obibo massacre.
May I save you?
So
may I save you from? May I save you from the?
No, this explanation is very important in support of what you just said.
Yes,
yeah.
I do
but
understand that.
But I'm done. Yeah.
If people are requesting for, if they want to support Inter-Society, all that is needed is how to tell them to do that. Obviously not cash. It has to be an account that is linked to Inter-Society. Are you able to avail them the account number, which bank, so they can?
There is no problem, but that is why we are making this clarification. So that if you are supporting Inter-Society, you will now know that you are supporting the work of Inter-Society, which includes what is going on in Obibo and others. Like the other day we spoke, and beyond. And the other day we spoke on Olo. I think we already told you. We spoke on Olo version. And so many other issues like that. So the work of Inter-Society is worth supporting. I don't want us to particularize it to Obibo. It's larger. Our work is larger than that of Obibo. What is going on in Obibo. And above all, we are doing that which we are supposed to do for our people. Pricelessly. That is it.
Okay. So what is going to happen now, in order that we pin it down, can you please then mention your account, the Inter-Society account?
I think what I will do is that I think what the best way to do it is so that we go to another level is that I don't want us to waste much time on this issue. What we need to do is that if there are people who willingly want to support us, you are the anchor. You are the anchor person. So if you direct them, so we can give you the account.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I think on that note, we no longer have further questions.
But it's also what you have mentioned that Mazi Obiokori that spoke that what you have mentioned that the Igbo Board of Deputies UK did tremendously recently for Inter-Society. So we will continue to appreciate them and others like that. So that's the thing. So there is no harm in supporting us. Once it is genuine, no problem. So
why can't you tell us the number we can reach, mobile number or anything? How can we reach Inter-Society?
Oh, no, Tochukwu, the number is there. Do you want to put it down?
No, you can say it. Probably it sounds better in your mouth.
Okay. 0081. The phone number be?
Yes, 081.
740.
740.
900.
900.
52.
52. Repeat that again.
081.
Yes.
740.
Yeah.
90052. It is also our WhatsApp number.
Okay, so again, for many of you who want to reach Inter-Society,
they can also visit our website. They can also visit our website for them and see things for themselves. Our website www.intersociety-ng.org. That's our website.
So you've heard that the website is Inter-Society, and the telephone number, both WhatsApp and normal call is 081740900052. On that note, I will say, Emeka, thank you very much for the last an hour, 45 minutes. It has been a pleasure speaking with you to understand what is happening in Obibo. Now, before we go, I would quickly say, what's your view and what do you think happened in Olu?
Well, what happened in Olu was the same, have a semblance of the Obibo army attacks. But the quantum or the gravity of that of Olu is not yet it's not yet commensurate or comparable with what happened. But then the intent is there to by the army to if unchecked to make it look worse than what happened at Obibo. So the military, the army said that some people, attack his personnel and other personnel of Nigerian security forces, and it moved. The army moved in, and the problem we have with the security forces of Nigeria is the problem of unprofessionalism and the crude policing and the soldiering. That is the problem we have. If you are aiming at a target, you say some people attack your personnel. Your intelligence, through interagency collaborations, will be able to raise enough intelligence and through effective crime detection, you'll be able to move in and fish out those people who you said that perpetrated one act or the other. Not to the point of unleashing their venom or this thing on innocent people. So the summary of what happened in Olo is that where we got angered was when we investigated and discovered that the soldiers left who they say they are looking for and started looking for Christian leaders in Olo, special members of the African instituted churches and the other innocent souls. And in the end, they arrested over 20-something, if not 33 Christian leaders, including pastors and clerics, and some mentally challenged persons and other innocent citizens, and got them paraded as, in quote, the IPOB/ESN terrorists or operatives that are involved in murdering of soldiers in Olo. And we investigated and found out that what they said is not correct. And we issued a statement telling the whole world that look at the caliber of people they went and arrested. That's exactly what happened. If you are conducting your operation, do it professionally. Use all the ingredients of securitization, intelligence, criminal detection, and things like that to be able to apprehend the people you said you are looking for, not to use the opportunity to execute an ethnic agenda. And that is our annoyance. And more quickly, when we also conducted an investigation and found out that, look, the allegation of execution of ethnic agenda is real. The 63 Brigade in Asaba is headed by an Hausa Fulani Muslim. 302 Regiment in Onitsha, Atra Regiment in Onitsha, the same Hausa Fulani Muslim. 34 Brigade at Owerri, the same Hausa Fulani Muslim. 14 Brigade at Ohafia in Abia State, the same Hausa Fulani Muslim. Haba, are we no longer talking of Nigerian army or something else? So that is where the much we can say about Olo, and we are still monitoring the goings on there and what have you. Not only in Olo, I think it involves about 7 local government areas, Njaba, Olo, Olu East, and the whatever local government, and as well as about 5 or 6 Nnewi South and the Ihiala local government part of Anambra State. So that is the situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a very fine place to leave it. Emeka, once more, thank you for coming on this program this evening. I can't thank you enough. It's been a pleasure speaking with you for the last couple of for over an hour, 45 minutes, and you've greatly enriched our knowledge and thrown some insight into what is happening. Because obviously, when these things were happening, many people were confused as to, life lost and people taken. But now, these are no longer mere numbers. These are numbers with names, with faces, and many of them that have been rescued. You've spoken to them, and documentation's taken. So these are verifiable individuals. On that note, I will say those watching on all our social media handles, both Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, thank you for joining us this evening. And I will tell us, join us tomorrow, 7 o'clock Nigerian time, 6 o'clock p.m. UK time. We will be having a very fantastic conversation with Mr. Tony Nnamdi and Professor Banji Akintoye, who is the leader of the Yoruba World
Congress. We will be discussing tomorrow Nigerian Union Dispute Debates and Dialogue Series, the impact and the significance of the constitutional force majeure. Now, Tony has been in the forefront of saying that the Nigerian Federation has expired since 2014. He also went further to argue that the component units of the Federation should actually start operating in order to have a total collapse of the system. Now, that is the much I understand about his argument, but join us tomorrow as it's going to be a very interesting time to have him discuss with the professor who incidentally agrees with that thinking that Nigeria is an expired entity, that there are other means to bury the cat. On that note, I will say thank you once more for being our guest this evening. Tomorrow is another day. Join us same time tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, and have